the points which I will be discussing today, just note down, that is only sufficient. Even if you don't read the material also, it's not that important. But the point which I am discussing, you note down. In the material also, just quickly glance that material. But before reading that material, there is some introduction is there, some more concept is there. And the topic which we will be dealing now, that is on non-performing assets. I'll give you a small material on the definition of non-performing assets. Then after that I'll discuss now. After that you read the material. Okay. Now try to understand that from Indian economy point of view, whether it is for your prelims or for your mains, non-performing assets is the most important current affair. And there have been lot of schemes or government initiatives or RBI guidelines have been issued based on to tackle this problem. So we will start with the origin of this problem and what is the present situation now. What is the present situation and what are and then from the prelims point of view, see today the major discussion will be from your prelims point of view and the major core point. Mains we will deal it separately after your prelims. Okay. Now regarding non-performing assets, try to understand that the origin of this crisis rests back to or in the 11th 5-year plan. Even though just have an idea, see you can expect a question on 12th 5-year plan. I'll give you a small material and if possible I'll give you a small video also, so that we'll discuss later. Now try to understand what is the specialty of 11th 5-year plan. The 11th 5-year plan had a plan to allocate 500 billion for infrastructure. For infrastructure development. Now try to understand that in 2007, India is almost just a 1 trillion economy. See, India's GDP is only 1 trillion. But the 11th 5-year plan have allotted almost 500 billion for infrastructural development. And most of this fund have been sourced through banking or bank loans. So before this 11th 5-year plan, try to understand that what was the situation of India's banking sector in 2007. So in 2007, India's banking sector was one of the strongest in the world. Try to understand, it's a very important point. See, when in US and in other part of the country, when the global financial crisis started, mainly because of this US banking crisis. So when the US and Western countries were facing banking crisis and related global financial crisis, we were one of the country which was not affected by this global finance, especially our banking industry was quite strong. Nothing has happened till 2007. So in 2007, our banking sector in relation to non-performing assets is nothing but bad loans. What is that? Bad loans. What is bad loan? A borrower taking a loan and is not in a position to pay back. That's it. Okay. So in 2007, when the banking industry was growing well, when the economy was growing well, everything was going smoothly. So it says that okay, India, because of India, RBI's proper guidelines, prudential guidelines have helped the Indian banking sector withstand this crisis, the global financial crisis, which were originated by the banking crisis only, especially from US. We call it as US mortgage crisis, housing sector crisis, which were related to bank. We are not going to that part. Okay, so in 2007, everything was going fine. Then from 2007 onwards, what suddenly happened? We have allotted a lot of fund for infrastructural development, and majority of the fund have been taken from bank loans. Now, what happened in relation to this, many of these major infrastructure projects? It's not because of the failure of the infrastructure projects. It's because of the delay. Because of the delay in executing, there was an enormous delay in executing the project. Delay due to environmental concern, land related problem, then this public private partnership agreement related problem. So all resulted in what happened? The project is not starting. See, without project starting, and the project can't produce the sufficient revenue. But actually what has happened at the same time, the project have taken loan, or the entity which is doing this project development or infrastructure development have taken loan. Now what is the specialty of loan? If you have taken loan, the bank will say that we will wait. You start the project and then only you start paying the principal and interest. Bank will not. Okay, so from 2007 onwards, this crisis started growing up, and there onwards, the bad loan proportion, have increased, and now it has reached a peak. Now it is a very big concern for the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, and to the government. Okay, just have an overall idea when it started. Okay, so the reason was a policy paralysis. Okay, in relation to the proper execution. So that is one thing. Second, see, I am not saying that this is the only factor. There are other factors also. But this is a major factor. Okay, in delay, project delay, especially to the. So if you see that companies like steel have been largely telecom infrastructure, and then road construction firms have all got affected by this project delay. Okay, now, so just have an idea. So now what is the situation is that approximately, see, at different time whenever read newspaper, this value varies. It says that 6 lakh crore or 6.5 lakh crore. Try to understand that around. So this is the, you can approximately, you can say that around 6.5 lakh crore of bank loan have become bad loan. So when this much of amount of, imagine that 6.5 lakh crore capital have become bad, loan have become bad. So what will happen? So try to understand the impact of our banking sector having huge bad asset or huge non-performing asset or huge bad loan. First of all, what they will do? Whenever there is a, try to understand that as per the RBI norm, when their asset become non-performing, some part of their capital have to be provisioned, have to kept aside to deal with that bad capital, means bad loan. So what will happen to the bank is that they will not have sufficient capital to lend. Now what they will do? So that is one thing they don't have. So one thing is that they are not having sufficient capital to lend. Second thing is that they will charge higher interest rate. Yes or no? They will try to charge higher interest rate through how? Because they want to compensate the losses which they incurred in the earlier loans. Okay, so this will affect not only the banking sector, it will affect. So when the bank charges higher interest rate, what will happen to the economy? Economic activity, the investors or the corporate, the companies have to take loan at a high interest rate, then corporate will also get affected. So overall, the economic growth, so when it will result in, whenever there is higher interest rate, when we have studied in national income, that will result in, whenever there is interest rate is high, it will result in lower investment examination point of view. These initiatives are very important. Now this is very important. Okay, what all are the initiatives taken by the government? Before that, you need to be very clear the definition of non-performing assets. That's very important. The definition of, because I strongly believe that UPSC will ask a question related with the definition of because almost whenever you take a newspaper, they are hearing this non-performing assets, non-performing asset. What is this non-performing asset is all about? So before going to non-performing asset, we'll go to as per the RBI guideline. What is the definition for non-performing asset? So before going to non-performing asset, try to understand that the RBI have categorized defaulters. What do you mean by defaulter? A person who have taken loan and is not paying back that. See, if a a borrower, if he is not paying back his principal or interest, okay, we can call that borrower as a defaulter. Now there are two types of defaulter: willful genuine defaulter, or means he is not in a position to pay back due to his business going bad, is not getting sufficient revenue. And there are some defaulter who have the capacity to pay and but not paying back. We call them as willful defaulter. Willful means they are not, they know it, they have the capacity to pay, but they are not paying back. Okay, we are talking about the genuine, means normal people who are due to, see, be very clear when we talk about defaulter. When you read the question, see that whether this word have come willful or a normal defaulter. Okay, now as per this RBI, try to understand that the account on which the bank normally to take a loan, bank will obviously will ask that customer to open an account, yes or no? Account will be there. Okay, now try to understand that for the defaulter, we can categorize defaulter into three categories, because this category is very important. This classification, write down these classification, it's very important, because in several schemes we will deal with different type of defaulter. See, there are three category of defaulter. I am not going to non-performing assets, be very clear. Okay, we have not started with the concept non-performing asset. I am talking about three categories of defaulters. Three categories of defaulters. They are SMA. Defaulters are being written in this form: SMA 0, SMA 1 and SMA 2. SMA means special mention accounts. SMA means special mention accounts. This is very important. Special mention account 2 is very important in relation to a particular scheme. Now, how a defaulter will be categorized? Who are SMA 0, special mention account 0 category, special mention account 1 category, special mention account 2 category? If a borrower and have taken a loan and if he has not paid the principal or interest for past 30 days, means past 30 means a month. So this is see, you have taken a loan and you have defaulted. So you are defaulted for 1 month. So you are defaulted only for 1 month. So you are defaulted for a 1 month. Then you will be coming under which category? Under special mention account 0 category. So a person who have not paid interest or principal up to 30 days, they will come under special mention account 0 category. Then again it goes beyond the range from 31 to 60 days. 31 to 60 days, it's very easy. So it means that in the second month also, if a person is defaulting, he will come under special mention account first category. And more than 60 days, so the days may be very clear. Okay, so less than 30 day, it comes under special mention account 0 category. Between 31 to 60 day, you will come under special mention account first category. Then 61 days to 90 days, you will come under special mention account second category. Now try to very clear. Okay, there is a scheme called strategic debt restructuring. I have given you a material. In that, try to understand that strategic debt restructuring will be applicable to special mention. So we will discuss that, but that's why I am telling that this is very important. Strategic debt restructuring can happen only when an account become special mention account 2 category. It means that a company, we'll discuss what is strategic debt restructuring, but I am telling that since it is this account is mentioned in one of the scheme, you need to be very clear what is this special mention account 2 category. So special mention account 2 category is a borrower who had taken loan and he have not paid principal or interest for the last 60 days. For the last 60 days. Okay. So be very clear with that. Now here lies the importance. Now after 90 days also, so a borrower have not paid principal or interest for the last 90 days, then that account become what is called as non-performing asset. Be very clear. So it means that if a borrower have not paid interest or principal for the last 90 days, then only that account will be classified as, this term is very important, 90 days. This, see, even though it is fact, it's a very important fact. When a account, loan account will be called as non-performing asset. When it is when the borrower have not paid the interest or principal for the last 90 days or 3 months. This is the classification. Now try to understand that. Again, NPA is classified into 3 categories. That's also very important. See, we are talking about, so don't get confused. Okay, this is very important. I am expecting a question from this. Now you know what UPSC will do. What they will do? They will change the category or they will change the concept. They will say that, okay, 60 days. They will say that 60 days and then you will think that, So be very clear, it's not 60 days, it is 90 days. So once it crosses this line only, NPA starts. So for an account and a loan account to be called as non-performing asset, it has to default or there should be non-repayment for 90 days and more. Be very clear with this. Then again, non-performing asset can be classified into 3 categories. Okay, substandard. This also will come in the coming in the newspaper. Substandard NPA, doubtful NPA, and loss NPA account. Substandard, doubtful, and loss. Substandard, doubtful, and loss. We'll see it. Okay. Substandard, doubtful, and loss. So again they can ask what are the 3 categories of NPA and how it is classified. Okay. So once a loan have become NPA, so when a loan account will become NPA? After 90 days. So from after 90 days up to 1 year. So be very clear, NPA start after 90 days of default. Now in the first 1 year after becoming NPA, so during the first year we call it as that account as up to 1 year is not paying. Be very clear, this 1 year is after becoming NPA. So don't get confused, after becoming NPA. So 90 days is to be added. So if you know, see, that's the reason I am again repeating. An account to become NPA, it has to be 90 days default. So what is this substandard NPA? If there is no repayment for the 1 year after that asset have become or that loan account have become non-performing asset. So beyond this 1 year, after becoming the NPA and after 1 year also, there is no repayment happening, we call that NPA as doubtful. Doubt means now this chance of getting this loan is doubtful only. Now what is this loss? Loss means either the bank itself will say that okay, now there is no chance of getting back this, we can't collect back, okay, or the bank or the bank's auditors, internal or external auditors, will check and find out that whether we can get back this loan amount, or the RBI, any RBI will set a team to find out. So any process, if they say that okay, it has become loss, now it's very difficult to get back this amount, we call it as loss account. So there is no time period for it. Okay, the time period is only for to classify, means to understand between substandard and doubtful. So it is loss means that loan have become loss for the bank, and bank have agreed it. And one important point is this loss account is that the bank have still not written off from its assets. It's still there. It's there in the bank balance sheet that okay, there is this much amount. Mali I have to give 100 crore. It will be written there. Because bank, how can you write off? Okay, so but it's very clear. So there are a lot of people or the companies have taken loans. So there are a lot of loss accounts are there. So from the examination point of view, be very clear this definition of substandard, doubtful, and loss. Now what do you mean by standard asset? Standard asset means there is no problem with the loan account. There is no issue also. Now try to understand. Based on, say every bank is having non-performing asset. So when you read newspaper, you will not see this special mention account 0, 1, 2 category. Only you will see special mention account 2 category because of this scheme, strategic debt restructuring scheme. In the newspaper you will see only non-performing asset, and in the newspaper you will see only substandard and doubtful category. So we can expect question from there only. Now because of strategic debt restructuring, this is also important. Okay. Now try to understand that when a bank is having non-performing assets, what the bank have to do is, the bank have to keep some capital, we call it as provisioning, to address the loss happened in relation to that particular loan, bad loan. We call it as provisioning of a loan. So from the bank capital which it is supposed to lend, okay, already some of its loan advances which it has given have become loss making. Not only that issue is there, the bank have to keep some capital to address that. We call it as provisioning of that capital. Provisioning is there. Now the bank will face this problem. So it's because the RBI have come up with a very stringent norm in relation to classifying it. And in March 2016, RBI have asked the bank to go for asset quality review. This word is very important. In March 2016, AQR. What do you mean by asset quality review means? Reserve Bank asked the bank to review the quality of your asset. What is bank asset? Bank's assets are the bank's loan. And be very clear, okay? Bank loans, the loans which bank gives to its customers are the assets of the bank, and the deposits are its liabilities. We have discussed that, okay? Bank deposits are bank's liabilities because bank have to pay back, give back. But the bank loans are assets. That's why it is called as non-performing asset. It's the asset of the bank, but that asset is not performing, means the bank is not getting any return for it. Try to be very clear, okay? Bad loans are called as non-performing assets. Now why it is called as, whose assets it is? It is the bank asset. Now why it is called non-performing? The bank is not getting any return for it. It's not only getting the interest, it is also losing the principal also. Okay, so just have an idea these terms when you come across. So what happened with this asset quality review is that suddenly in March 2016, the bank started showing a huge non-performing assets. and try to understand that in the public sector bank which gives more loans, you know that public sector is having more branches and more banks like SBI is having branches in all over the country, and they give more loans. So because of, not only because of that, in relation to total advances also, the public sector bank constitute almost 70% of the this non-performing assets. Okay, so from the examination point of view, these definitions are very important. Now don't get confused with this special mention account 0, 1, 2 category and non-performing assets 3 category: substandard, doubtful and loss. Substandard, doubtful and loss. Now we'll see that, okay, what are the mechanism to deal with these problems? What all mechanism are available for the banks to deal with this problem? Problem of non-performing assets.